Rome fell. The Ottomans fell. Spain fell. The British Empire fell. For empires, for continents, 16 centuries apart. And every single one of them made the exact same financial mistake on the way down. Not the same enemy. Not the same war. The same coin, quietly hollowed out from the inside, decades before any of these empires actually collapsed. Strip away the flags and the borders. An empire, in the end, is a machine for turning control into wealth. Control of resources, control of trade routes, and control of the currency that ties both together. When a government controls all three, wealth flows toward the center almost effortlessly. Tribute arrives from distant provinces. Taxes arrive from every corner of the map. And the people running the empire start to believe something dangerous, that the machine can never break. That belief has a name in economics: currency debasement. Quietly shrinking the real value of money while pretending nothing has changed. It's a slow-motion decision, made a little at a time, by people who always believe they'll be the ones to stop before it goes too far. Every empire in this file did it anyway. Every single one paid for it. A Roman denarius was once solid silver. Hold one, and you held real, physical wealth. But wars, roads, soldiers' pay, and a hungry capital city all cost money the treasury didn't always have. So Rome melted its coins down and remade them with less silver, more copper, stretched further. More coins in circulation. Less real value in each one. The free grain handed out to keep the capital's population content only made the arithmetic worse. Under Nero, the denarius dropped to around 90% silver. His successors kept going. By the reign of Gallienus, around 260 AD, the coin was barely 5% silver, a thin wash over cheap metal, dressed up to look like the real thing. The lie couldn't hold. Bread that cost 1 denarius cost 2, then 4, then 10. Soldiers demanded more pay. Farmers stopped accepting coins at all and went back to bartering directly for tools and grain. By the 3rd century, Rome was burning through emperors, more than 24 in 50 years, most violently removed, each one reaching for the same broken lever. More spending. More debasement. More inflation. It became a full-blown emergency that historians simply call the crisis of the 3rd century. Centuries later, the Ottoman Empire ran the same experiment, almost as if nobody had written down what happened to Rome. At its height, it controlled the trade routes linking Europe and Asia: silk, spices, gold, all moving through Ottoman hands. By the 1700s, endless wars and a demanding military class had stretched the treasury thin. The answer, again, was the axe, reduced in silver, printed in greater numbers, the exact same trick as Rome 15 centuries earlier. But the Ottoman version had a twist Rome never faced. As the axe weakened, European merchants began insisting on payment in their own, harder currencies instead. Bit by bit, the empire that once controlled trade became dependent on foreign banks just to keep functioning. When the loans couldn't be repaid, Europe didn't need to invade with soldiers. It had already arrived with paperwork, a formal financial administration installed inside the empire's own ministries to make sure the debts got collected first. Spain's version of the story is almost the opposite problem, which is what makes it so strange. Spain didn't debase its coins. It didn't need to. Between 1500 and 1650, ships kept arriving from the Americas loaded with more silver and gold than Europe had ever seen in one place before. But flooding an economy with real money creates the same disease as flooding it with fake money: prices rise, because more currency is chasing the same goods. Historians call it the price revolution, one of the earliest recorded cases of serious inflation caused not by debasement, but by pure oversupply. Spanish goods became too expensive to compete with cheaper Dutch and English manufacturing. So Spain stopped making things and started buying them instead, spending its gold on foreign goods until the gold simply drained away, ounce by ounce, into its rivals' hands. By 1650, Spain was in debt. By 1700, it was a secondary power. An entire continent's wealth had passed through Spanish hands and out the other side, leaving remarkably little behind to show for it. The British case is the most recent, and the most familiar. By the 1800s, Britain didn't just dominate trade, it dominated the world's financial plumbing. The pound sterling was the currency every major trade was settled in, and London's banks financed entire nations. Then came 2 world wars and a depression squeezed in between. Britain borrowed heavily from the United States, sold off overseas assets, and ran deficits it couldn't close no matter how the numbers were arranged. In 1931, Britain abandoned the gold standard. The pound was no longer backed by a fixed weight of gold, only by the government's promise. The world noticed slowly, then all at once. By 1944, at a conference in New Hampshire, the world quietly agreed to anchor global finance to the American dollar instead. Britain didn't lose its empire on a battlefield. It lost it in a conference room, the moment the world decided whose promise was worth more. And the pattern wasn't even finished. Decades later, in 1976, Britain had to formally beg the International Monetary Fund for an emergency loan just to keep the pound from collapsing outright, the same weakened currency still paying interest on the same old decision. Here's the part that should unsettle you. The people running these empires weren't fools. Rome's finance ministers understood the risk. Britain's treasury officials understood it too. Genuine reform, cutting spending, raising taxes on the powerful, admitting weakness out loud, was always the harder, more honest path. Debasement was the easier path. It requires no courage, and it works, for a while. Rome debased the denarius and paid its armies. The empire kept expanding for decades afterward. Britain stabilized its immediate crisis the moment it left the gold standard. The short-term win is real, and that's exactly what makes it a trap. Because every dose requires a bigger dose next time. Prices rise. Wages rise to match. Governments spend more of an already weaker currency just to stand still, which weakens it further. It's a loop with only one real exit, and almost no leader chooses to take it in time. Diocletian tried price controls in Rome, and they failed within a few years. Keynes warned Britain against returning to the gold standard at the wrong rate, and he was ignored for a decade before the inevitable break came anyway. The warnings were rarely missing from the historical record. The political will to act on them almost always was. None of these empires were destroyed by their armies. The armies held long after the money didn't. Rebellions and invasions succeeded, in every one of these cases, because the economic foundation underneath them was already gone before the first soldier ever crossed a border. The real lesson isn't just don't debase your currency. It's that economic power is built entirely on trust, and once the people holding that trust break it themselves, it cannot be rebuilt inside the same system. Persian coins replaced the denarius on Rome's own trade routes. European banks replaced Ottoman finance. The American dollar replaced the pound. An empire doesn't fall the day an army breaks through its gates. It falls, quietly, the day the world decides, through a million small transactions, that it no longer needs the empire's money at all. That day always arrives long before the history books get around to noticing it.